You've gotta check this one out. Some bugs aren't just creepy land things, they're straight up living in the ocean and fooling everyone. In this video, we're checking out 20 bugs disguised as sea creatures, and you're not ready for some of these. Especially the water stick insect. It's so sneaky and bizarre, you'll be hitting pause just to believe it's a bug. Level 1. It looks like a tiny silver boat skimming the pond. This is the water boatman, an insect built for paddling. Its hind legs are flattened and fringed with hairs, acting like oars. The hairs trap air, creating a thin bubble that the bug carries under its body as an oxygen reserve. That pocket can keep it underwater for about 5 to 6 hours at a stretch. Most species measure 8 to 13 millimeters. Scientists list roughly 500 plus species worldwide. These bugs eat algae and tiny invertebrates, and they move in steady strokes at nearly 10 body lengths per second. Small fish and frogs often misjudge the flash of their bodies and try to bite nothing. Level 2. Imagine an upside-down fish gliding under the surface. That is the backswimmer, a hunter that swims belly up so its pale underside blends with sky light. It kills prey with a sharp, straw-like beak that injects enzymes to liquefy tissue. People who handle one sometimes feel a quick, painful stab. These insects hunt mosquitoes and tadpoles, and a single adult can consume a large portion of its weight in food each day. They tolerate water from near freezing up to tropical temperatures and can keep oxygen under their wings for about 40 to 60 minutes depending on size and activity. Level 3. Far out on the open sea, tiny silhouettes ride the swell. These are sea skaters of the genus Halobates, the only insects that live on the open ocean surface. Their legs are covered in waxy microhairs that trap air and prevent wetting. Scientists recognize about 47 species, and some live hundreds of kilometers from the nearest coast. Adults are small, around 3 to 5 millimeters, and life expectancy at sea is roughly 6 to 10 weeks depending on food supply. They feed on plankton, fish eggs, and anything caught in surface film. Their nests and eggs sometimes attach to floating debris, which makes plastic pollution a direct threat. Level 4. Watch lake water and you may see black dots spinning in tight circles. Those are Whirligig beetles, built to patrol surface film in groups. Their compound eyes split so the top half looks above the water and the bottom half scans below. This split vision lets them monitor aerial and aquatic predators at once. They can rotate rapidly, confusing both prey and would-be hunters. When alarmed, they dive and release a chemical signal that warns nearby beetles. Their bodies are smooth and waxy so water beads off, and many species swim in coordinated packs that look like tiny whirlpools. Level 5. At first glance it appears as a stick or reed. This is the water scorpion, an ambush predator shaped like a brown twig. Its long tail is actually a breathing tube that the insect peeks above the surface while the rest of the body stays hidden in mud. It waits patiently for small fish or tadpoles and then strikes with 2 raptorial forelegs. Adults can reach up to 45 millimeters, and they survive nearly a year in ponds with stable water. Their body color matches decaying plants so well that movement is often the only sign of life. Level 6. This one is the heavyweight of freshwater insects. The giant water bug can reach 8 to 12 centimeters, making it large enough to grab frogs and small fish. It has powerful forelegs and a stout beak. The bite injects enzymes that pre-digest flesh, allowing the insect to suck nutrients like a tiny predator with a built-in blender. Males sometimes carry eggs glued to their back or under their wings until hatching. They breathe by extending a pair of tail tubes or trapping air beneath their wing covers. Lifespan for many species is about 2 years, and some populations migrate short distances by flying at night. Level 7. Shiny and smooth, the diving beetle looks like a small oval shield moving beneath the water. It carries an air bubble under its wing covers that acts as a physical gill. That bubble can exchange gases with the surrounding water, letting the beetle stay submerged for 20 to 40 minutes while hunting. There are more than 4,000 species in this group, and many of them fly to new ponds after heavy rain. Adult diving beetles are effective hunters of mosquito larvae and tadpoles. Their legs are fringed for swimming, and their streamlined shape means they cut through water with minimal drag. Level 8. This insect appears to skate on glass. The water strider uses superhydrophobic legs covered in dense hairs that trap air, allowing it to use surface tension as a platform. It travels fast relative to body size, sometimes reaching 1.5 meters per second in short bursts. The insect senses prey and predators by reading tiny wavelets with its legs, which act like sensors. Some species live on quiet ponds, others on fast-flowing streams. Males and females perform displays by tapping and bouncing on the surface. These signals carry across ripples. Engineers study their leg structure when designing new water-repellent materials. Level 9. Thin and perfectly balanced, the marsh tredder moves slowly, almost like a walking reed. Its body can measure around 12 to 15 millimeters, and it hunts by stealth rather than speed. It feeds on mosquito larvae, small crustaceans, and trapped insects. The bug keeps its head low and body aligned to mimic floating sticks, a posture that helps it avoid visual predators. In cold regions, adults hide in leaf litter and survive the winter under insulation. Their pace is deliberate, they test the surface before each step, which makes them effective at navigating fragile puddles and bogs. Level 10. A long, thin silhouette slides on the surface with a careful rhythm. This is the water measurer, a walking stick-shaped insect that glides slowly, feeling the film with each leg. It measures surface tension in a literal sense by distributing weight to avoid breaking the water. Adults are small, about 10 to 12 millimeters, and they feed on trapped midges, pollen, and organic debris. Their compound eyes detect tiny shifts in light and shadows, so they react before predators get close. Many species thrive in rice paddies, roadside ditches, and shallow marshes where oxygen can get very low. Their physiology handles low oxygen conditions better than many small fish. Before we proceed to number 11, why don't you take a moment to like this video, and subscribe to Critterology where we post all about insects. Level 11. At this level, you meet the mangrove leaf beetle, a small metallic insect that looks like it washed up from the sea. Its shell reflects green and bronze light, almost like a wet seashell catching sun. This beetle lives where saltwater touches land, in mangrove swamps across Southeast Asia and Africa. Its body pushes salt out through microscopic pores, letting it feed on mangrove leaves without drying out. The adults measure about 8 millimeters, but their shells are packed with wax layers that shimmer underwater. They lay eggs on the underside of leaves above the tide, safe from fish and crabs. In bright light, their color changes shades, a real metallic camouflage that tricks both predators and humans walking by. Level 12. This one looks like coral that learned to crawl. The coral caddisfly larva builds its own case from bits of crushed coral, shell dust, and sand. While most caddisflies use twigs and gravel, these larvae in tropical estuaries use ocean debris. The case isn't just protection, it balances their weight so they can walk along coral beds without floating away. Each larva is about 2 centimeters long and uses silk threads from its mouth to glue the coral grains together. When disturbed, it freezes, looking like a tiny broken shell. Scientists found some species survive up to 40 parts per thousand salinity, making them the most salt-tolerant caddisflies known. When they grow up, they leave the water and become plain brown moth-like adults, losing the marine disguise completely. Level 13. Floating in a thin film on the ocean's edge, the marine springtail looks more like plankton than insect. Each one is barely 1.5 millimeters long, yet entire colonies can form what appear to be silver slicks on tide pools. They don't swim, they bounce, powered by a spring-like tail that flips them across water tension. Their bodies are covered in a waxy layer that keeps them dry, and that coating reflects sunlight like a bubble. Some live their entire lives at the ocean's edge, feeding on algae and decaying seaweed. Scientists estimate they can survive 48 hours in seawater without drowning. When you see what looks like dust skittering across wet rocks, those are springtails, millions of tiny fake plankton that actually breathe air. Level 14. Hidden inside coastal mud flats, the water stick insect, Rhonitra linearis, lurks like a shrimp in disguise. Its long, reed-shaped body moves with such precision that even fish mistake it for plant debris. It breathes through a snorkel-like tube on its tail and ambushes small aquatic creatures with sharp front legs. Grown adults reach up to 8 centimeters long, almost identical in shape to a mantis shrimp. When they move, the slow sway looks like seaweed in the current. Their camouflage is so complete that most predators miss them entirely. Unlike their heavier cousins, the water scorpions, these prefer clear shallows, often floating among reeds that mimic their own thin profile. When they strike, the jab is faster than a blink. Level 15. Next, the seaweed grasshopper. Yes, it's real. Found in coastal Australia and New Zealand, these grasshoppers live among washed-up kelp. Their skin is coated in a glossy film that copies the shine of wet seaweed. They feed on algae mats, not grass. A full-grown adult measures 3 to 4 centimeters, and its hind legs are shorter than usual to help it grip slippery rocks. During high tide, they cling to kelp strands and remain motionless, blending into the brown-green mass. When the tide retreats, they feed and mate in the sun. The disguise fools both birds and crabs, two of their main predators. Even after drying, they stay flexible thanks to salt-tolerant skin proteins. Level 16. Crawling among barnacles, the coastal assassin bug wears a disguise that looks like crustacean armor. Its back is coated with sand grains and algae residue that stick through a waxy secretion. Adults reach about 2 centimeters, and they feed on soft-bodied insects trapped in tidal cracks. The deception works so well that hermit crabs often crawl over them without realizing what they are. Their bite is strong, injecting a toxin that dissolves prey within seconds. Coastal assassin bugs are short-lived, only 8 months, but reproduce in huge numbers after storms, when rotting seaweed attracts swarms of flies. Some populations even develop greenish shells to match algae seasons, changing tint over time like slow color-shifting armor. Level 17. Beneath mangrove roots lives the Estuarine mayfly nymph, a creature that looks like a tiny shrimp. These nymphs have long antennae and feathery gills that wave like fins. They feed on fine silt and decaying algae, helping filter coastal water. They reach 12 millimeters before emerging into adults that live for just a few hours. Scientists tracking them found that their life cycle lasts about 180 days underwater, and during that time they tolerate wide salinity changes, from river flow to full seawater. When swimming, the gills move in rhythm, almost identical to a shrimp's paddling legs. Fishermen sometimes use them as bait because of that resemblance. But the fish often mistake them for real shrimp and swallow them whole before the hook even lands. Level 18. This one looks like something straight from a coral reef, the mangrove moth larva, sometimes called the sea anemone worm. The larva attaches itself to submerged mangrove bark and grows tufts of soft, finger-like bristles that sway with water. The bright reds and purples mimic marine anemones perfectly. When a small fish approaches, the larva pulls back into its silk tunnel, vanishing in under a second. Its bristles contain no stings, but the illusion is enough to keep predators away. Each caterpillar measures around 3 centimeters and feeds on fungal growth on wet bark. It later crawls above the tide line and spins a cocoon, turning into a dull brown moth, another creature that leaves the ocean looking behind once grown. Level 19. Now meet the tide pool ant, a small brown scavenger that lives between rocks splashed by waves. Unlike normal ants, this one forms floating rafts when the tide rises, clinging together through surface tension. To the eye, the cluster looks like sea foam or drifting plant scum. These ants feed on rotting plankton and small crustacean remains washed ashore. Each colony has thousands of workers, yet each ant measures less than 5 millimeters. They can survive full saltwater submersion for over 20 minutes, thanks to air trapped around their bodies. During high tide, they anchor themselves under shells or algae mats. When the water falls, they emerge to collect food, their disguises blending with wet debris almost too well to see. Level 20. At the highest level comes one of nature's strangest coastal insects, the mangrove dragonfly larva. It's born in brackish pools where the ocean and river meet. The larva looks exactly like a miniature shrimp, right down to its segmented body and curling tail. It hunts by jet propulsion, sucking water into its body and blasting it out to lunge forward, a method used by squid. They can shoot forward at 2 body lengths per second, fast enough to catch small fish fry. The larvae stay in this stage for up to 2 years, feeding and hiding among real shrimp. Adults emerge at night, unfolding metallic green wings that reflect light like fish scales. In humid air, those wings scatter light into a soft, shifting blue, a trick of structure, not pigment. It's camouflage built on physics. When marine biologists first documented them, they thought they were a crustacean species. It took dissection to reveal insect mouthparts. That's how close the mimicry is. Some of these bugs don't just live near the water, they've learned to become it. Every one of them bends the rules of what a bug should be. Hit subscribe, and let's keep uncovering the creatures that cheat nature itself.